Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel, Old School English Teacher. Today we're going to talk about the compound complex sentence. This is the last of the 4 sentences that we've been talking about. There are a few more components to the compound complex sentence, so it's a little trickier, but once we learn the pattern, we should become very proficient in writing the compound complex sentence. Let's get started. A compound complex sentence is comprised of at least 2 independent clauses and 1 or more dependent clauses. I've used the picture of the parents to represent the independent clauses and the children to represent the dependent clauses. I have found that if I have pictures and analogies, I can remember concepts a lot easier. And I've put the components of the compound complex sentence into kind of a math formula. So we have the independent clause, the dependent clause, plus the subordinating conjunction. And that all sums up to the compound complex sentence. So let's see an example. Here is an example of the compound complex sentence. I was taking my California nursing exam and a 6.5 earthquake shook everything inside the building so that everyone's nerves were rattled. Let's take apart this sentence and see what makes it a compound complex sentence. I was taking my California nursing exam. There is an independent clause. We have a coordinating conjunction and another independent clause. A 6.5 earthquake shook everything inside the building. Then we have a subordinating conjunction, which we know signals a dependent clause, so that everyone's nerves were rattled. Let's look at another example. Though Jasmine prefers watching romantic films, she rented a spy thriller, and she enjoyed it very much. Okay, we know that though is a subordinating conjunction, so we also know that this is going to create a dependent clause. Now we have 2 independent clauses. She rented a spy thriller, and she enjoyed it very much. And we have our little coordinating conjunction. Okay, let's look at another example. Diligent students earn good grades, and they manage their time wisely since they know college is a short-term sacrifice for a better future. Diligent students earn good grades. That is an independent clause. We have a coordinating conjunction and another independent clause. They manage their time wisely. Here is a subordinating conjunction. That's signaling a dependent clause, since they know college is a short-term sacrifice for a better future. Okay, now we're going to have a student practice so that you'll have an opportunity to write a compound complex sentence. I would like you to write this in 3rd person using past tense. So this is going to take a little bit more time, a little more thought than the simple compound and complex sentence because you're combining all 3. So be patient with the process, press pause, and I'll be here waiting for you when you return. So, how did you do? Well, this is what I came up with. Caleb drove to San Diego and he spent the day at the beach until the clouds released a drenching rain, forcing him to take shelter under the pier. Okay, let's examine the components. Caleb drove to San Diego. Independent clause. Coordinating conjunction. He spent the day at the beach. Another independent clause. Now we have a dependent clause because we have a, I heard you say it, subordinating conjunction. Until the clouds released a drenching rain, forcing him to take shelter under the pier. That is a dependent clause. Okay, our next practice, I would like you to write a compound complex sentence in 1st person using past tense. Press pause and I will wait for you. So how did you do? Well, this is the sentence I came up with. Since Mr. Thackeray, my attorney, played golf with the man who crashed his car into my house, he refused to take my case, so I asked him to refer me to another lawyer. Okay, we have a subordinating conjunction. I know you spotted that, and that indicates a dependent clause. So all of this in white font is a dependent clause. And then I have two independent clauses. He refused to take my case, coordinating conjunction. I asked him for a lawyer. Okay, so you're seeing that pattern? Okay, now I would like you to write a compound, complex sentence in first person in future tense. The reason why we're playing around with first person and third person and our tenses is because I want you to get used to shifting gears. You might have a teacher return a paper with a big red circle that says, oh, there's a shift in tense, or there's an inconsistent use of person. So you'll know how to fix that, because we want to stay consistent either in first person or third person. We want to stay consistent in our verb tenses. So press pause, and I'll be waiting here, and I will give you my example of the compound, complex sentence written in first person, future tense. Okay, so this is what I came up with. Since I will not be attending the ball, you may borrow my tiara, for the diamonds will attract many admirers, and maybe you will find your prince. Okay, let's examine the components of the sentence. The sentence begins with a subordinating conjunction, so we know that this first clause is dependent. You may borrow my tiara, independent clause. The diamonds will attract many admirers. Maybe you will find your prince. And I have three independent clauses, and they're connected with these coordinating conjunctions. So it's simply the pattern you have to learn. Okay, sometimes we feel overwhelmed when we have a lot to learn. And maybe you're feeling a little overwhelmed with the 4 sentence structures. Well, I have some suggestions to help you with that. Sometimes when we're feeling overwhelmed, we want a quick fix. We want to go order some pills to take to help us with our sentence structure. Well, we know that's not feasible. So what is feasible is that we follow these time-proven suggestions. First of all, review the simple sentence, the compound sentence, the complex sentence, and the compound complex sentence. Review the videos, review the patterns, maybe put the patterns on little note cards so that you can reference them. The next thing is to repeat the student practices found in the videos. Use completely different stories, different topics, different sentences. What you're going for is the pattern. You want these patterns of sentence structure stamped firmly in your brain. And that comes through practice. A very important thing to do is to teach these sentence structures to a willing student, a parent, a sibling, a roommate, a friend. Say, do you have 10 minutes? I want to teach you about the complex sentence. And as you're teaching someone about the complex sentence, it's going to get firmly stamped into your brain. So, also, if you have a study group, they're good victims to teach your sentence structures to. The fourth thing I would suggest is use your developed sentence skills and write for 10 or 15 minutes a day. First thing in the morning is always good. We're fresh, we've just awakened from a good night's sleep, and maybe we write down some of our dreams, some of our goals, some of our aspirations. If writing in the morning is not feasible, pick up your pen in the evening just before you go to sleep. And write down the things that trouble you, the things that you want to accomplish tomorrow. And do it with your developed sentence skills. As you write with these patterns, they will go into your brain and they will rest there, and your brain will process them while you're asleep. So morning or evening, both are good. Remember your SAP. Remember how the SAP nurtures the branches and the trunk of a tree. Well, your sap nurtures your writing. So study the 4-sentence structures, apply these structures to your writing, and practice, always aiming for excellence. I don't like to tell my students to aim for perfection because I think perfection can really thwart our progress. It can paralyze us. It's daunting to aim for perfection. We need to aim for the very best we can do today, knowing that tomorrow we'll do even better. So always aim for excellence. I have a couple of books to recommend. The Righteous Mind, Why Good People Are Divided by Politics and Religion by Jonathan Haidt. He's a psychology professor who studies behavior, why we make decisions. And his thesis is we make decisions based on intuition rather than logic. He also believes that when a country is polarized, we do not make good decisions. So I think it's a really timely and it's a good read. Another good book written by Jonathan Haidt and Greg Lunekoff is The Coddling of the American Mind. And he addresses the fact that college used to be a place where many ideas, many divergent ideas were examined and entertained, and freedom of speech was encouraged. And there's been a little shift towards political correctness and microaggressions and safe places. And so he's questioning that. And I think it's always good to question social norms, to question the status quo. So I would highly recommend both of these reads. That is all I have for today. I hope that you've gained something out of studying sentence structure. It is the foundation of all good writing. And our next video, after this one, will be developing strong paragraphs. So work on those sentences, and I will see you when we begin learning about paragraphs. So good luck and good writing. Bye-bye.